Welcome to World Transits Today. I'm Art Granoff. Connect with me at referenceastrology.com for birth chart reading. Today, I'm going to show the July 2025 World Transits in Archetypal Astrology. Start showing Stan Grof's extended map of the psyche. Looks like an hourglass, eh? So we start out up here with ordinary ego consciousness, the personal unconscious, postnatal memories. Then we take some psychedelics or do some breath work or other methods to open up our psyche. We may regress to the perinatal layer of life, perinatal dimension around birth. Also, that has to do with the moment of birth, the astrological chart. They're together. Moment of birth, astrological chart. Then we may slide down the hourglass into the transpersonal domain, larger than us, bigger than ordinary life, and then down to the archetypal dimension. We have the four basic perinatal matrices, four stages of birth that match the four outer planets in astrology. BPM1, everything seems to be okay in the womb, matching the planetary archetype of Neptune, a differentiated consciousness, swimming with the dolphins, spirituality. Then we go to BPM2, the cosmic oppression. Things don't look too good anymore. We relate to the planet Saturn. Saturn refers to restriction, limitation, anxiety, tough stuff. And BPM3, the death rebirth struggle, more intensity, trying to get out, referring to the planet Pluto. And then 4, we made it, we're born, Uranus, the experience of death and rebirth. So keep that in mind if you can for now. We use those with the 3 forms of correspondence. One is the birth chart, which shows the planets when you're born, and world transits, which we're going to be talking about today mostly, referring to the current planetary positions in the sky, showing essential archetypal patterns of what's going on now. And then the personal transits, which combine the birth chart and the world transits to show us what's going on for us individually. With all that in mind, here's today's horoscope, July 1st, 2025. And let's unpack it a little bit, shall we? We notice the 4 outer planets, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto, which, hey, match the 4 BPMs, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto. So we're going to be working with these 4 for a little bit. Let's see what's happening here. If we add the planet Venus, we notice that Venus on July 1st, 2025, is with the 4 outer planets. Venus with Saturn, Venus with Uranus, Venus, Neptune, and Venus, Pluto. Kind of looks like this right there. Venus sextile Saturn ran from the end of June till mid-July. We got Venus conjunct Uranus right there to the end of June till mid-July, and Venus sextile Neptune through mid-July, and Venus trine Pluto through mid-July. So what's all this about? Venus with Saturn. Venus would be love, beauty, Aphrodite, sensuality, aesthetics, art, music, with Saturn, BPM2, right here. Where is it? The cosmic oppression. Now, in the womb, you can't do much. You're stuck. You can't really do anything. But when we're out, when we're alive, Saturn can refer to restriction, limitation, or it can refer to strength, something we can lean on, okay, something for support. So Venus with Saturn, Venus sextile Saturn, Venus would be your heart, or your sensuality, and all that sensitivity. With Saturn, it can either restrict, can be tight, troubles expressing yourself or being heard in that respect. Or it could be that Venus with Saturn is something you can depend upon. Saturn being strength, it could be a strong love, it could be a strong connection. So Saturn, again, a double-edged sword, can either restrict or it can strengthen. So Venus sextile Saturn can be either limitation in love, troubles in love, or strength, power in love, depending on you. Venus conjunct Uranus, okay, Uranus being BPM4, liberation, freedom, we made it out. So Venus with Uranus can refer to fresh love, fresh sensuality, opening up, opening the heart. Okay. Now the shadow side of that is you can open it too much. Okay, your heart can be just wide open. Then you have no discrimination. Then you have no guardrails or boundaries, and you can just get way out and hard to relate to sometimes. Venus Uranus, the new fresh love, the love poem, something beautiful, or too beautiful, too much, just spinning out of control. Venus sextile Neptune. Venus again, love, beauty, our heart, and Neptune being BPM1, the amniotic universe, spirituality, divine love. So one could say that Venus with Neptune would be the human heart connected to the divine heart. Okay, direct connection, human with divine, human being with the transcendent together. It's pretty good. Also, Neptune, as wonderful as Neptune is for being one and having that spiritual yumminess flowing, the other side of that is Neptune can be diluted or be confused, or Neptune being imagination, you can imagine something as a certain way, a person, a love affair, a love event, but it may not be that way. It may be not that. It may be confusion in love and hurting in love due to that confusion. So Neptune, double-edged sword, Venus, Neptune in the heart, heart with the divine, or confused in love. Now Venus, Pluto, Venus trine Pluto started towards the end of June and runs through the mid-month. Venus, Pluto, beauty and the beast. Venus, heart, love. Pluto, Hades, simple story of Persephone and Hades. Persephone picking flowers, innocent Persephone. Then all of a sudden the ground opens up and there's Hades and his magnificent chariot and horse and grabs Persephone and takes her downtown, and she becomes queen of the underworld. Famous story from On the Road to Eleusis. Venus with Pluto, Beauty and the Beast, could be the deepest love catharsis, or it could be the toughest anguish in love. Pluto being power and very demanding. Who's on top? Who's in control? Venus, Pluto. So Venus, the first half of the month with the 4 outer planets. Pretty good. We had the sun. We notice on July 1st, 2025, that the sun squared with Saturn and Neptune. Sun, Saturn, Neptune. Then we noticed mid-month, we've got the sun with Saturn, Neptune, and Pluto right there. Sun with the 4 outer planets. Now, what's that about? Well, if we look here, if we look at Saturn and Neptune, Saturn's limitation, boundaries, reality, and discipline, and Neptune's idealism, spirituality, and transcendence. They're either building dreams or being confused. So in the case of Sun Saturn, Sun Neptune, either identifying with building dreams or identifying with confusion, whichever. Then for Uranus and Pluto, Uranus would be awakening and breakthroughs, innovation, rebellion and change. And Pluto's about power and depth, rebirth, and intensity towards one's distinctive path. So with Saturn Uranus, we're reaching for the sun. Okay? We're inspired. The new thing is happening for us. Fresh air is blowing through the window. We like it. We feel up. And then Sun with Pluto. So Pluto is about power. Pluto is about intensity. Pluto is either finding your own voice and expressing it some way, or it's that voice that's hurt and scared and doesn't get any attention. When it comes up, it's mad and angry and wants to fight because it's lonely and it's scared and it wants attention. That's why we want to do things like astrology and meditation, so we can bring out the dark, scared parts of us to the surface. And we can take a look at them. And we find out they're not so bad after all. We just think they are. Okay. So Sun Pluto, finding your own power or being overwhelmed by your own power. Okay, making a big mess everywhere. So mid-month, the sun with the 4 outer planets. Good time to identify with the cosmos. We look at the planet Mercury. Right there. Mercury with Saturn. Mercury with Uranus. Mercury with Neptune. And Mercury with Pluto. And if we notice here, these are 2-month transits. Starts out in the end of June and runs through mid-August. So it's Mercury, Saturn for 2 months, Mercury, Uranus for 2 months, Mercury, Neptune, and Mercury, Pluto for 2 months. A long transit. What does that tell us? Okay, well, with Mercury with Saturn, I like to refer to it as a train on the track. Mercury, the mind, thinking and communicating. And Saturn is where you place it on the track, down the road. It's got a destination. It's got a format. It's got boundaries. Mercury, Saturn, mind on the track. Okay. Got Mercury, Uranus, the aha moment when we get it. Oh, I got it now. Mercury, Uranus. And we have Mercury, trine Neptune, our mind with our imagination. If Mercury with Saturn would be about practical things, Mercury with Neptune is about music, art, poetry, all of our imaginative stuff. Or it can get too imaginative and get really diluted. Kind of, you think things are going to happen, but they don't. And then you react to them, and it seems to be a pattern. Maybe you get to see it as a pattern, then maybe you can change that pattern. Mercury, Pluto. Mercury, the mind. Pluto, Hades. Digging under the surface. Reading big books. Teaching big subjects. Writing deeply. In other words, combing underneath the surface, looking for the prize. Mercury, Pluto. So it looks like a fabulous 2 months to get it together with your mind, okay? Mind with the outer planets. Do something practical, something new, something imaginative, and something deep. 2 months. we've got the planet Jupiter, Jupiter, Saturn, Jupiter square Neptune. Okay, they both run through the end of the month. Jupiter with Saturn, expanding reality, expanding what's going on, building something. What are you going to build? Or the shadow would be your expansion is restricted. It's you can't get anything done. You're restricted. Jupiter, Saturn, either building successfully or Jupiter, Saturn, not building successfully. Jupiter, Neptune, Jupiter's success and flowing, Neptune's flowing, Jupiter, Neptune, big flow, big opening to the transcendent, Neptune. The shadow can be delusion. You can be grandly deluded. So Jupiter, Saturn, Neptune can be really positive, or it can really get you all confused, depending where you're at. And the planet Mars. We notice at the end of the month, we got the planet Mars on the 4 outer planets. Wow. Mars with Saturn, Mars with Neptune, Mars with Uranus, and look who's back, Mars Pluto. You know, we're going to get into this next month. Okay, talk about this in August. July 10th, 2025. It's the full moon right there. Full moon. Sun opposite the moon. It happens every month. Now, sun's opposite the moon. It's not against the moon. Okay, it's just 180 degrees away. It's a cosmic event. It happens every month. And this new moon is Jupiter, the planet of expansion and success. Let's talk about now the outer planet transits going on, shall we? The main two, of course, Saturn conjunct Neptune through 2027 and Uranus trine Pluto for 2032. Now, if we look again, we've got Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto. The 4 BPMs, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto. Now, what does this all mean? If you notice, when we add in the sextiles right there, we got 6 planetary pairs right here. Okay, again, we started with Saturn and Neptune and Uranus and Pluto, and then we add the others. And if you notice here, for July, which is here, in August, September, October, these are extremely tight. I mean, tight as tight can be. Saturn, Neptune, 1 degree off or exact. Couple of degrees for Uranus and Pluto. And look at these guys. Saturn, Pluto, really tight. Neptune, Pluto, really tight. Uranus, Neptune, really tight. So essentially, for the next few months, we've got the 4 outer planets really tight all together, looking like this right here. See here, Saturn, Neptune, very, very tight. So what I would say, it's a really good time to go deep into yourself, deep into your psyche. Okay, it's just super good time. We've got Saturn sextile Uranus. Essentially, Saturn is tradition, what is, and Uranus is the new thing. So it's either an advance from the old thing to the new, or it could be stuck where you don't want to do the new thing. You want to stay where you were, but you may want to go to the new thing. So that's your choice there, right? Then we have Saturn sextile Pluto. Okay, that's tough. Saturn, BPM 2, and Pluto, BPM 3. It's the middle BPMs. That's where all the intensity is. BPM 1, everything's okay. BPM 4, you're born, so everything's fine. But all the tough stuff's in the middle, BPM 2 and 3. So we may get some of that. Or BPM 2 and 3, Saturn and Pluto, can be strength and allow you to do the toughest work. So either one. I've also got Uranus sextile Neptune, which is really tight. Uranus again. BPM 4, release from custody, we're born. And BPM 1, just resting in the womb, everything's okay. So it's the exact opposite, really, of Saturn and Pluto, where all the intensity is, right? So Uranus Neptune is big opening to the transcendent. So that's pretty good. Or it can be big confusion as well, Neptune confusion. And then the Neptune sextile Pluto transit, the 100-year transit. You know, this is around from the 1930s till the early 2030s. Essentially, the spiritual transformation. Okay, there's the 4 outer planets. And now, let's wish happy birthday to Stan Grof, 94 years old, July 1st, 2025. And there's his chart, Stan Grof's chart. Just like us, got the sun and the moon and 8 planets. Let's unpack Stan's chart a little bit. See right here, Stan has a Saturn, Uranus, and Pluto T square. Look how tight this is. We've got Uranus at 19, Saturn at 20, and Pluto at 20. Super tight. Ready? Uranus, Pluto. What's going on right here, isn't it? Uranus and Pluto. Uranus is awakening, breakthroughs, innovation, rebellion, and change. And Pluto's about power and rebirth, intensity towards one's distinctive path, fresh revolution, collective awakening, and intensified drive for freedom. We've got Saturn with Uranus. Saturn, again, is tradition, what was, what is, what's solid. Uranus being the new thing, what's new, what's fresh. So having these 3 together is extremely dynamic. And taking the non-ordinary state plunge, going deep with psychedelics and breath work, can bring these out in your session, and you can become acquainted with these archetypes and start to work with them. In addition, Stan has the sun and the moon attached to those outer planets. Got the sun with Uranus, sun with Saturn, and sun with Pluto, and also the moon. Moon, Uranus, Saturn, Pluto. So you could say that his whole personality and outside life in the world, the sun, be strongly affected by the 3 outer planets. And also the moon, his private side, his sensitive portion, psyche, is aspected by the 3 outer planets. In addition to that, Mercury in the mix, right there in the middle of all that, the mind and communicating. So it says to me right away that Stan is pretty smart. He's gone deep under the surface, finding the prize. He's connected to the new thing, and he's working on it really strongly, okay, in a deep way. So here's a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 planet spread, kind of describes Stan Grof. But wait, let's add the planet Jupiter, granting success and good fortune. So here's a 7 planet package about Stan Grof, without going into the whole chart, kind of describing him pretty well. Do you think? Happy birthday, Stan. There's a couple of pictures with Stan with Brigitte Grof and Rick Tarnas in China. And there's Stan with Jack Cornfield. Hey, also in China. And there's Stan with Albert Hoffman and Hans-Roy Giger. On July 24th, we have the new moon, Sun conjunct the moon. And on this new moon, we're joined new moon with Saturn, new moon with Uranus, new moon with Neptune, and new moon with Pluto. I'd say if you're going to do a journey, this is the day to do it right here. It's wide open. New moon, the alpha, the omega, the cosmic event that happens every month. Bigger than anything. It's a new moon, and you can't even see it. New moon. And we want to say farewell to Bill Moyers, who died just the other day, born 1934. Bill Moyers, there's his chart, and he does have Saturn opposite Neptune in his chart, born 1934, and also Uranus square Pluto. So there we go. Bill Moyers, famous TV personality who became prominent. Well, actually, that's when Joseph Campbell became prominent in the late 80s during the Bill Moyers and Joseph Campbell Power of Myth talks. So, Bill Moyers, adieu. Thank you. And there he is as a young guy, around how he looked at the time he was interviewing Joseph Campbell. Thanks, everybody, for joining me at World Transits Today. I'm Art Granoff.